channel is going to be the story of Jason Todd. Jason Todd is one of the most complex, painful, and misunderstood characters. He's a victim and cautionary tale and a tragedy wrapped inside a red helmet. Today we're diving deep into the story of the second Robin, who is also my favorite Robin, the one who died, came back, and realized the world didn't care about him. Before Jason was the Red Hood, he was a kid who never really stood a chance. He wasn't born into a loving home. He wasn't a prodigy. He wasn't a circus acrobat like Dick Grayson, who was the first Robin. Instead, he grew up in the slums of Gotham. His father was a criminal who constantly went out of his way, going in and out of prison, and often came home with bruises he took out on Jason. His mother struggled with addiction from drugs. Their apartment was the kind of place that Gotham would forget about. Crime, hunger, fear. And that was Jason's childhood. Jason Todd was a kid who just had to fight to survive, honestly. Long before he ever put on that mask. Batman never, ever met him through adoption papers or a circus accident. Instead, he found him in an alleyway trying to steal tires of a Batmobile. And that detail is important because it shows Jason as a kid and what he had. He had nothing. He was just a scavenger. Bruce, who is Batman, he saw himself, a young version of himself in Jason. Like, he saw what he could bring out in him. When he became Robin, the fans never accepted him. DC never accepted him. Even Batman struggled to accept him, often comparing him to Dick Grayson. Jason never felt good enough. He never felt wanted. Never felt like he could be the Robin that Bruce hoped he could be. He was a kid trying to live up to a ghost and failing. That loneliness, that insecurity, that pressure, it kind of like just planted the seeds of the tragedy that was coming. Jason's death wasn't just a story, it was a plot twist in Bruce's life and in Jason's. If anything, it was more of a vote. DC writers literally left it up to fans to decide how Jason would live or die. And eventually fans chose that he would die. In universe, Joker killed him in an abandoned, like, I don't even know what it's called, but he killed him, and Batman found his just body. He didn't die because he didn't listen. He died because he couldn't abandon someone he believed was his family. He tried to save his mother, who ultimately betrayed him, and the Joker beat him to death with a crowbar. Not clean, not quick, not merciful. Batman arrived moments too late, a constant reminder for Bruce, and a scar Jason would never heal from. For most characters, that would be the end, but for Jason, it really wasn't. It was the beginning of a new tragedy. Jason came back later on through the Lazarus pit, but his resurrection was not easy. It brought confusion, trauma, and a mind fractured by the memory of a brutal death. The saddest part is he returns to a world that had moved on. Batman had a new Robin, Tim Drake. The world barely acknowledged Jason's resurrection. He wasn't welcomed home. He wasn't celebrated. He wasn't healed. He was alone again, just like before Bruce ever found him. But now he carried the weight of 2 lifetimes of pain. The boy who was unwanted, and the man who returned to find he still was. When Jason confronts Batman, he doesn't even ask for revenge. He doesn't even ask for justice. He asks a heartbreaking question of why he didn't kill the Joker. Not because he wanted blood, but because he wanted to believe he mattered enough that his life meant something to Bruce. His sadness comes from realization Batman loved the idea of Robin more than the boy who wore the mask. Jason didn't want Bruce to become a murderer. He just wanted to know his death meant something. It's one of the most emotionally devastating confrontations in comic history, because Jason isn't a villain here. He's a hurt child asking why the man he loved didn't avenge him. Jason becomes the Red Hood, a symbol deliberately chosen to mock the Joker and the pain he caused. But contrary to popular belief, Red Hood isn't a villain. He doesn't want chaos. He doesn't want Gotham to burn. He wants to stop what Batman won't. He kills criminals who prey on the weak. He controls crime to reduce civilian casualties. He protects people the system ignores because he knows exactly what it feels like to be ignored. Jason Todd isn't driven by rage. He's driven by trauma, by disappointment, by a life where justice failed him at every turn. He's a tragic commentary on what happens when a hero is abandoned by the very ideals he died for. Red Hood represents what Batman could become if he ever allowed his pain to define him. And the saddest part, Jason doesn't want to replace Batman. He just wants Bruce to admit one thing, that he failed him. But Batman can't, and Jason can't let that go. So they stay locked in a circle of hurt. Father and son, divided by grief, neither knows how to process. No sense of belonging, no stable family. He has no real home. Even after Jason joins teams like the Outlaws, even after reconciling with the Bat family. In different storylines, Jason's sadness never truly goes away. The Batman who wasn't, the villain who isn't really a villain. He's the Robin who died. He has no sense of belonging. The hero who can never outrun his past. What makes Jason so heartbreaking is that every version of him, comics, animation, games, they carry the same emotional truth. Jason Todd desperately wants to be loved, but believes he doesn't deserve it. His entire identity is shaped by loss. The loss of childhood, the loss of life, the loss of purpose, the loss of his family, and the loss of trust. Even when he's included in the Bat family, he always feels like the outsider, the mistake, the one they talk about when he leaves the room. That lingering loneliness is what makes Jason Todd so painfully human. He keeps fighting even when he believes the world doesn't want him in it. Now, this is why Red Hood is the saddest character. Red Hood's tragedy isn't just about death or violence. It's about a boy who kept trying to be enough, and a man who still thinks he isn't. Jason Todd's sadness comes from layers and layers of wounds. He has a childhood filled with fear and neglect, a death that the world voted for, a resurrection that brought no comfort, a father figure who couldn't save him, a sense of justice built from broken trust, a father figure that wouldn't avenge him, a lifetime of feeling replaced, unwanted, and forgotten. But despite all of that, he still tries to protect people. He still stands up for the vulnerable. He still fights for Gotham. Jason Todd is the embodiment of truth many fans relate to. Sometimes the strongest people are the ones carrying the deepest pain, and that is why Red Hood is not just a cool anti-hero. He's the saddest, most emotionally layered character in all of DC. But that's just who he is. That's why he was made that way. It's not because he wants to be a murderer. He doesn't want to be a murderer. It's just how he is. When Joker killed him, he set him down on that path. When he was brought back with the Lazarus Pit, thanks to Ra's al Ghul, his mind was fractured. He had like some sort of split personality where one side would take over and force him to kill. That's why when he returned to Gotham, he would go on to kill drug dealers, crime lords. He would go on to kill Black Mask, Joker, Cheetah, not Robin. He'd go on to go kill Joker, Cheetah, Riddler, Black Mask, and just standard criminals, just so nothing bad ever happened to them. He also refused to let Batman not kill Joker or him. He put a decision into his hands and forced Batman to either kill Jason or to kill Joker. But Batman wouldn't do it. Instead, he walked away. When Jason fired the gun, it blew up in his hand. When they started fighting afterwards, and Jason ended up disappearing after the fight. He appears later on countless of times, but their ideals will still clash. Jason and Batman will never, ever agree on Joker. Mainly because Jason is so scarred by what Joker did to him. By how he took him from Batman. As he states, the only reason Jason kills Joker is because Joker killed Jason and Batman won't kill him. If Batman had killed Joker, none of this would actually happen. So, if anything, this has gone on more about a rant of Jason's story, but if anything, Batman technically created the Red Hood. If he had never, ever not killed Joker, he wouldn't have lost Jason. He would not need Tim Drake. We would not have Damian Wayne. Oh dear Lord, we would not have Damian Wayne. He really should have killed Joker, now that I think about it. So all Batman needed to do was just kill Joker, just him, and we would not have Red Hood. We would not have Tim Drake. Well, actually, we might still have Tim Drake. Who knows? We hopefully would not have had Damian Wayne. I really hope. But we would not have had the story that Jason had. Do I think Jason deserved his death? No. Jason was just a misunderstood character. I personally think he needed more time to develop. Did the writers give it to him? Absolutely not. But fans, instead, they don't like Jason as Robin. They prefer him as Red Hood, and I see that. Jason as Red Hood is a great character. He led a great team known as the Outlaws, consisting of Starfire, Artemis, I think Bizarro as well, and Roy Harper. Those were a good team, but also there's moments where Jason goes back to killing, and there's moments where even he tries to become Batman, despite the fact he does not want to be Batman. He's only done it once, but over and over he tries to convince Bruce to kill Joker, which never actually happens. Something Bruce does need to consider. But if you guys actually like this video, please let me know. I would very much appreciate it. Make sure, please like and subscribe, and leave a comment on who you'd like to be for the next video. Personally, I think we do Nightwing, or maybe even Tim Drake. Definitely not Damian Wayne. I'm not doing Damian Wayne, not for a while. I'm not gonna do Damian Wayne until maybe 500 subscribers. Until that point, I want to at least do Batman, Nightwing, or Tim Drake. I don't know who I'm gonna do yet, but I want to do at least one of them, just so I can get like a feeling of how I want to do it, and then maybe we'll expand more into the Bat family. Like we'll do Batwoman, Batgirl, the yellow, the new yellow guy. I don't know his name. It's just like, the Signal, yeah. Yeah, the Signal. Very forgettable, not gonna lie. Ace the Bat Hound, or even maybe Alfred. We could explore Alfred's backstory. He actually does have a pretty cool backstory. And then maybe we'll go on to explore the history of the Justice League and whatnot. I mean, who knows? We'll see. But like I said, everyone, like and subscribe. Hope you have a wonderful day. We shall see you all next time.